if you do not heal yourself, you will project that onto your child, and then your child becomes the guardian of the same trauma. If my child says, I hate you, is your own sense of unworthiness showing up? If your child doesn't listen to you, do you feel like you are failing as a parent? When you feel yourself reacting and triggered, you have to go, I'm triggered. And the old way would be to yell at the kid, to fix the kid, to control the kid. But conscious parenting says, hold on, let me take a pause before I react. People think healing is going back and talking to my father and writing him a letter and crying for 24 hours or 24 years. No, that has a little place, but people kind of get stuck there.
I got the feeling that this is gonna be my day. Let's go to the brave space.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of The Brave Space. I'm your host, Laila Monterey, and I'm so excited for our next conversation with bestselling author, clinical psychologist, and founder of the revolutionary conscious parenting, Dr. Shefali. So, last week we have been talking to Gabor Mate about trauma and also about our toxic culture. So this week I would like to dive into conscious parenting as a possible path to heal from it and to break transgenerational trauma patterns.
Well, the main thing with trauma is that the parent's ability to protect the child's nervous system and to show up in connection gets compromised, right? So if there's a genocide, a war, all the adults are in a state of their own panic. So nobody is able to show up for the children. So what I try to teach parents is that, listen, it's not your fault if you had a trauma in your childhood. But if you're going to have children, that's where you get to break the cycle and reimagine a new future for your child, like you are doing with your child, I'm sure. And you're healing yourself. You're trying to get over what happened to you so you don't show up with that same energy, that same fear, that same panic. Because if you do not heal yourself, you will project that onto your child, and then your child becomes the guardian of the same trauma in a different face, in a different disguise. So conscious parenting helps parents to understand what's happening in the moment. Traditional parenting tells us that whatever is happening in the moment is the child's fault. And conscious parenting doesn't make it the parent's fault, but it tells the parent it is not the child's fault only. It is not about fault. It's about becoming aware of whatever patterns are showing up.
Yeah, so I have done a lot of work, and I think I'm a conscious parent, and I am really proud of my daughter, if I can say that. Yeah, I have an ego. I am so proud of the person she is, and my approach is mainly, what can I do to not break this perfect human being? But of course, I have a lot of moments where she still pushes trigger buttons. Is there anything you would say to a parent when we notice or we recognize ourselves that the little human beings push our buttons, how we can hold ourselves and calm our nervous system? Is there any
Right.
tool?
So it's very normal for children to do that. There's no parent who is perfectly healed and perfectly whole. We are all growing with our children. So when you feel yourself reacting and triggered, you have to go, I'm triggered. And the old way would be to yell at the kid, to fix the kid, to control the kid. But conscious parenting says, hold on, let me take a pause before I react. What pattern is showing up for me right now? If my child says, I hate you, is your own sense of unworthiness showing up? If your child doesn't listen to you, do you feel like you are failing as a parent? And you begin to listen to your inner voice, and you begin to separate your inner voice from what's happening in the child. And most of the times, we don't separate that voice. So we're not even aware that we have an inner voice. So if the child is angry or the child is not eating their food or not doing their homework, we are so disconnected to what's happening inside, and we just react outside and we lash at the child without first looking and seeing, is this even something I should react to? And do I have to react with control, or can I react with compassion? And as you begin to make those decisions in the present moment, you begin to change your patterns.
Okay. So this is the way parents heal themselves, to be conscious about what's going on and just learn to not jump on the trigger.
Yeah, you're not going to heal yourself. You're going to become aware that you need to
Okay.
heal yourself, right? Healing takes a lot of decision making
Mhm.
to let go of your idea of how things should have been and to release those patterns. But first, you have to become aware that because, say, I was abandoned as a child, I have trust issues. Become aware. See, people think that just because you have a bad traumatic past, that means you can't have a good present moment. That's not true. Or they feel that because you have a bad past, you have to go back in the past and fix it with everybody who hurt you. No, the power of being aware is to see how the past has influenced the present moment and to see how your present moment is getting messed up. That's it. And the more you see it, then you release those old patterns. And when you release them, you try something new, you try a new action. And in the new action is the new pattern. But people think healing is going back and talking to my father and writing him a letter and crying for 24 hours or 24 years. No, that has a little place, but people kind of get stuck there. The point of the past is just to show you what are you now carrying into the future. Everyone is carrying stuff into their present moment. And we just want to see how the past is influencing the present moment and the future. And do I want to make a more conscious choice as opposed to being a puppet of the past?
Okay, I hear you. So let me just try to sum that up. Instead of seeing years of therapy as the key to being a perfect parent, is it that you say try on practicing being present, being there, being present, and shut down your mental chatter, whatever is going on in your head, your ego or your interpretation of what the root is, why the child might do this, which is probably not. It's just behaving like a child should behave. And be present and joyful in the moment and create from this new destiny or a healthy parenting style.
Yeah, I think if you are constantly finding yourself reacting in irritation or anger or impatience, you need to ask yourself, is this a practical issue? Like, am I doing too much? Am I exhausted? Am I not eating? Am I not sleeping? And this is the same for your child. Always first check the biological, practical level. And then you have to ask, is this an emotional level? Okay, is it emotional for my child? Something is going on in my child emotionally. And then is there something going on in me emotionally? And so you go from the physical and the concrete to the emotional, and you begin to be curious about your child. What is coming up for you, my child? And then you be curious about yourself. What comes up for me every time my child gets a C grade? What does that make me feel like? Oh, it makes me feel like I'm a bad mother. It makes me feel like how I used to be in 5th grade. It makes me feel like I don't have good brains because my father told me I was stupid. Now you're getting, okay. So now you're beginning to realize that, yes, the C grade that your child got is a trigger, but there's also another trigger, which is your own childhood. So if you took out your childhood voice and you began to envision, okay, what if I have no story around a C grade? What if I don't need anything from my child's education? What if I'm okay with a C grade? What if the C grade and me can be good friends? And you just take your story out of it, you'll begin to see, okay, I can handle this. I can help my child deal with this. It's not the end of the world. You see, it's when reality, whatever's happening outside, we call that the first arrow. But then we put the second arrow, the third arrow, the fourth arrow, right? Oh my God, I'm so stupid. Oh my God, I shouldn't have done this. Why am I always like this? My mother told me I'm like this. Now that is 100 arrows. When you take out the extra arrows, 2 to 1,000, you're left with one arrow. And now you can be calm. You can deal with one arrow, but you can't deal with 1,000. So that's what I teach parents, is how do I get rid of the extra arrows?
Okay. So can I add one more formula to this quotation? So we have our own stories and then we have the cultural context going on. And as you said in the beginning, that we are so busy and so overwhelmed by everyday life that we're so disconnected from ourselves that it's very hard for us to connect with our children. So what I'm asking myself is, yeah, listen to yourself, what comes up when you feel triggered. But to me, it's very difficult when you're so in the outer world, like all the things that are going on.
It's very hard, but that's why you have to practice mindfulness and practice cleaning up your schedule, keeping your life as simple as possible. You know, we were never wired to raise children in this chaos, and it takes a toll. Both parents are working, both parents are exhausted. The kids come home, we have no patience, no time. So we were never meant to parent in this kind of chaos. You know, living in community, making sure you're surrounded by people who understand you. That's why I created my own conscious community. It's because I was missing being around calm, regulated people. So I created a community, and now we're doing a 365 meditation challenge for 2026.
Wow.
So you have to galvanize and attract the peace that you want. It's not going to fall from the sky.
Okay.
You have to make a real choice, a real decision. And in order to enter peace and calm, you have to say no to a lot of things. You have to say no to drama. You have to say no to negative people. You have to say no to gossip. You have to say no to the sensational news. You just have to learn to tune it out, because it is not healthy. And it's filling a void that actually will not be filled. Only relationships, close relationships, can fill that inner void.
Oh, that's wonderful. And that's how I try to live my life, like reduced and not reading the news, not being too much on social media, even like screen time. My daughter, she has a screen time of 1 hour a week. But a lot of people look at me like, do you live in Stone Age? Like, what the hell are you doing? So here in my country, I have the feeling it is not yet, people here in my area are not yet really conscious about a healthy way of parenting, a healthy way of living. So I appreciate your sharing your story with creating your own community. I'm trying to do this. And yeah, what I would also like to ask you, because I have heard it on a podcast with Vision from Mind Valley, you were talking about the concept of the material world and being attached to the form. Also, you were talking about duality, and our aim should be to go to the formless. Could you shortly describe what you mean by that and what effect it has on parenting, conscious parenting?
Yeah, so just to keep it simple, our world has become so addicted to external validation. How do I look outside? How much money do I have in my bank account? How many cars do I have in my driveway? And we have become confused to believe that that external validation is our identity. That is the world of form, right? I need more cars. I need more shoes. I need more medals. I need more prizes. I need more money. And the formless is, how much inner peace do I have? How much connection do I have? How much alone time, downtime, easy time, rest time, how much love, how much compassion, how much empathy, how much action. These are things you cannot necessarily measure. So I call them the formless parts of life. And sadly, most of us are trying to rack up the points in the form-based world, more, in things you can count and add and spend and possess and own. And when you do that, you lose this inner connection, this connection to this inner solitude and peace, and you go off the wrong track. The outside world of form is always dual. Do I have enough money or do I not have? I need more money or less money. Am I more pretty or less pretty? Am I older or younger? And really, we need to live in the world of non-duality, which means that there is no good or bad. Everything is a continuum. Everything exists because the opposite exists. And when you begin to realize that, so if you want to have peace, you have to understand that it exists, it can exist, but not in the ways that you think. It cannot exist and you try to be a capitalist exploitator. You cannot do that. And
Okay.
even though that sounds dual, right? Or either this or that. No, what I'm saying is that world of capitalism and greed and exploitation will always set it up for this is good, and not having it is you're lesser than. And your identity will be based on, do I have it or do I not? So I'm saying we need to throw away that way of thinking because it's so unhealthy. And instead, we need to enter this non-dual world of formlessness where it's not based on either you have it or you don't. You have to just keep growing it and cultivating it, and it never ends, and it can never be taken away from you. It always can exist with you. Money can come and go. Youth comes and goes. Your partner can come and go. Your love can come and go. Friends can betray you. In the formless world, there is no duality because it'll never go away. It's always here.
Interesting. So I have a very dear friend I work a lot with, and he has been explaining that the newer generation, the young people nowadays, they have much more easier time to dive into this spiritual formless world. However, yesterday I had a very interesting discussion in my kindergarten school, and it was about parents talking about that they were totally against social media. They didn't want their children to be on WhatsApp, and they avoided it. But once they went to school, the kids were so under pressure, 10-year-olds, and desperately crying because he felt so excluded from going to parties, whatever, because he didn't have a smartphone and couldn't type on WhatsApp with his friends. And so she bought him a phone with WhatsApp. What should we do in such moments? We are conscious parents. We try to do our best to keep it healthy. What should we do in such moments where we see our children suffering because of this material world they are part of?
I think it's all age dependence. I think if your child is under the age of 12, you have to be very strong that they are not emotionally, mentally, psychologically ready to handle social media, just like they're not ready to handle alcohol. And after 12, you can make some very strict rules with agreements and negotiations, all handled, all a partnership. And then after 16, you can really start to help them to be digitally aware and digitally healthy. And then by 18, of course, they may not live in your house anymore. So at least for the first 12 years, we should really protect our children and really stay calm and gentle and firm, because it's the same as giving them a drug. You're giving them speed for their brain, cocaine, and their brains cannot accelerate fast enough and slow down fast enough. It slows them down in many ways. It speeds them up in many ways. It slows them down. And this kind of pendulum, acceleration, deceleration, it is the dopamine hit. And it is very unhealthy because then our children's brains get addicted to that level of exposure. And then the lows, when they're alone in their room, it feels very empty. They need the noise, they need the scrolling, and that's the reason why they have created it in that way, is so you can get addicted.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for sharing this. So, as a conscious parent, what should be our main goal? To raise children who are authentic and emotionally deeply connected with their essence, confident. What else?
Our goal is really to keep working on ourselves so that we can show up in a calm and present way. That's
Mhm.
really the goal. And
Okay.
then if the child is able to connect, to grow, to take advantage, great. But parents feel like we should have a goal for our children. And
Mm.
I'm always telling parents that is the secondary benefit. But the first place is to have a goal for yourself. So, what is your goal for yourself? Let's do that. And let's focus on that, because that's the only thing you need to take care of is you. So if your child is young and is a toddler and they need you all the time, that is your goal. If your child is 25, they don't need you all the time. You can have a different goal. But if you take care of your goal and align yourself with what do I need to do today? Oh, I have to get up early because I have 3 children and I have to get them ready. Then that is your goal. But it's about you. Your goal today isn't about, oh, today let's make sure my children are happy. You cannot have a goal like that because you're not in charge, in control of somebody else's mood. Or let's make sure my children do really well in their exams. That's not a good goal. The only goal you can have is I'm going to stay calm. I'm going to stay regulated. I'm going to try and I'm going to repair when I mess up, because I am going to mess up. So every day you can set an intention for being as present and kind as possible.
I can so relate to this when you say you want your child to be happy all the time, because of course I want my daughter to have she is a sunshine. That's her natural state of being. And of course I want her to be all day long like this. But I am I'm also like taking myself and like, okay, don't teach her sadness or emotions like anger are wrong. Don't teach her anything is better or less good than another emotion. It's an interesting. It's interesting. I love it. I think I think my daughter really is the most precious thing for myself, even though you shouldn't get your child for yourself, but it's the most precious relationship for myself that makes me grow in a way that nothing else could make me grow
That's so
more.
beautiful, because you're getting a chance also to heal yourself. You're getting a chance to
Yes.
be loving to yourself. Every time you love her, you're loving a piece of you too.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah. And like my child is my mirror and she's like so honest. She's like right into my face. And in today's world, I find it so difficult to have honest relationships. Everyone has his own intentions.
Right.
And so you're like, "Mm, I have to stop it." But often I'm like, okay, did she or he really mean it that way? No, I go and see how my daughter reacts. She's giving me a very honest and raw reaction to all of my behavior. I find it so, yeah, healthy and releasing.
Relieving, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that is, my child isn't here to make my life easier, but truer.
And I like that. Deeper and more authentic. And it's not easy, but it's a great learning. It's a daily learning, because every day you have to be patient. Every day you have to give somebody else some part of your time and energy and attention. So it forces you to not be so self-absorbed, which is a good thing for all of us. It forces you to not focus only on yourself. And it forces you to be in service of somebody else and really to examine your own belief system. So if your child comes home and says, "Mommy, I don't like you because you have long hair, and I think long hair is ugly," right? You get a chance now I have long hair too. You get a
Yeah.
chance to now correct it, right? But what if you yourself grew up as a person who hates long hair, right? That's how people become racist. When the child has an emotion, but the parent validates a hateful emotion with a hateful belief system. So parenting is an amazing opportunity to get to examine your own belief systems and to see all the ways that you're still stuck, you know?
Yeah. My daughter by now, she turns 5 in April. And she's, as I said, she's just perfect. She's like really saying, "Oh, mommy, I love your hair." So I don't have this challenge yet.
No, I was just talking about how belief systems are passed down, you know.
Yeah, but I am looking forward to that because I tell myself now she's 5. She will get older. She will develop her own belief system. She will be in puberty and she will become 14, 15, 16. It's going to be interesting, but I like this, yeah, this growing, like being
Yeah.
challenged every day. So yeah, I heard something in one of your podcasts. Drop your expectations, own your life. It's right for you. Children teach you, and be present. And I think that's also bringing it right on spot for healing your trauma, is because trauma means disconnection from your authentic self, disconnection from the present moment. Is really to start living again in the here and now and be conscious about what's going on inside of you, but not reacting to it. Wonderful. Do we have time to ask you? I have some questions from my audience for you that I would like
Sure.
to. Pardon?
Yeah. Can do a few of them, yeah.
I have two. I have two. Okay.
Hi, my name is and thank you for this wonderful opportunity for me to ask a question. I have a question in regards to parents who are in midst of toxic custody. What advice would you give to parents who see their kids not coping custody sharing, and when you as a partner get them from visiting the other partner, they're just not coping emotionally? So, what advice would you give to parents to help neutralize that at least? Thank you.
Yeah, it's not easy. I don't have any details, so it's hard to say. When you have a difficult shared custody situation, you have to, document everything, pay attention to signs of abuse, listen to your children, validate your children. But mostly, when they come back to you and they are all upset, you have to expect that. They will always act out with the more safe parent and they will bring all their stress to you. So you need to be ready to handle that. And so when they are away from you, that is your time to re-regulate yourself and recenter yourself so that when they come back, you are stronger. It's not easy. Children need at least the person they feel the most safe with them all the time. So when they feel that that person is not there, they feel abandoned, and especially when they're young. So this parent will have to work more hard for when they come back to make up for those missing pieces. It can be done, but it's not easy. It's never easy, but in this situation, especially if she's under stress and she's going through so much with the ex herself, then she's going to find it really hard.
And then I have a question from Mariam, and she has a question about what if you can see people transferring their trauma onto their kids, but the parents don't see it? And should you intervene or not? And she is specifically referring to situations in daily life, work, school. Do you have an obligation to stand up for these children?
I think if a child is being abused, we all have an obligation. You can always call the local protective services. I don't know how it is in your country, but I think in America, not that it works well, but you can call as a concerned bystander, and who knows if they'll do anything, but you can do something. You can knock on a door. You can tell the teacher. I think you should never ignore a child being abused. However, also understand your power is limited. You have to really do your best, but don't be upset if nothing happens, but definitely try your best to bring it up. Now, if it's just emotional abuse, and I don't mean to minimize emotional abuse, but if it's not something like life-threatening, also speak up, but know that people don't like that. So whoever you tell will not be happy about it. No one likes to be told how they are doing in their parenting, right? Nobody likes that.
Yeah, so true. I also had a situation in my school today. I had a boy, a 6-year-old boy. He's from Bulgaria, and he has a difficult time to concentrate and learn the letters. And all of a sudden, he started to talk. My sister is dead. My sister died. And so I walked up to the teacher and I asked her, is this true? He was just telling me he's 6 or 7, and he just told me that the sister, I think she was maybe 1 or 2 years older than him, that she just died. And she said yes. And I was referring to this. I said, listen, he has such a hard time to concentrate, and this is one of the first things that he was bringing up with a person he doesn't even know.
Right. He was so overwhelmed that he
Yeah.
couldn't even be in the present moment. It just was so overwhelming for him.
Yeah. And so I said, asked the question because she said he needs an assistant to help him learn. And then I said, well, I think he really needs a therapist because he has a really severe trauma. It's not about helping him to learn the letters.
He cannot learn, right? He cannot learn when his brain is so traumatized.
Yes, so I stepped up and I said it to the teacher, but I think she was, like you said, you can say it and you have to leave it to the other person if she takes action or not. And this is often a very painful situation in my work.
It is. It is very hard. But that's why we need more people like you to step up and take care. It's a tragic world we live in sometimes, and all we can do is our best. And that's what we're going to try to do.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. It was a really nice conversation. I think you bring so much wisdom to my audience. Dr. Shefali, I know you have something exciting coming up.
Yeah, so I have a coaching institute where I train people to become conscious parents. So I train parents to become better parents, and I train them to help other parents, if they want to become better parents. It's my masterclass in conscious parenting. It's 5 months. You get 2 certifications, a conscious parenting certification and a conscious life certification, a coaching certification. So you learn to coach yourself and others. And I will give your audience a $500 discount with the coupon 500 OFF, 500 off. They can go to my website, go to the and if they want, join me. I've now graduated over 1,500 coaches. I have it twice a year. You not only become a better parent, you become a better partner, your relationships change, and you get a career opportunity to help other people. So it's a win-win-win. And then I also have a conscious community, and I have a 30-day gift pass for free. So if they go to my web or they write to us, we can send them the 30-day gift pass. You can try it out. We're doing a 365 meditation challenge, so they can join me.
Okay. 2 questions are coming up for me. When exactly is the program starting?
So we have it twice a year. So the next one is in April, then in September, but it keeps rotating and changing.
Okay, April and September. And is it, because I'm here in Austria, and if I would like to join it, is it an online program you can do from all over?
All online, all beautifully organized. And right now we're having our 13th cohort. And then we're going to have number 14. And we have people, I think, from Austria already.
Really?
All over Europe, Asia, Africa, Canada, America. It's amazing. And it's very structured. And at the end of it, you become a better parent. It's a masterclass. It's immersive, experiential, East meets West. I show live coaching, how to do it all through the program. So you learn hands-on. It's a very deep program, and it's East meets West. So it's very well tailored for working moms, and you listen in your car, you listen while you're cooking. And so, yeah, I would love people to explore it. And also you would love to have you. And it's just such a fulfilling thing to do.
It is. And actually, I really think it's necessary. It's not something we should consider doing. Actually,
Yeah.
I am really a warrior of, we need to save our children from
Yes.
the things that are the chaos that is going on, and we need to educate the parents. That's what I'm seeing. So I'm super excited about this. I'm going to
Awesome.
have a look if I can schedule it in. And thank you so much again, Dr. Shefali, for being on my show, having this conversation. Also, many, many thanks to Chris and your team for making this happen. Thank you so much from Austria.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening.